Hello, everyone. Welcome back to BrandsTalk, a show to help you develop and grow your brand in a more authentic and sustainable way, locally and globally. Whether it is your personal brand or company brand, your product or service level brand. Learn from thought leaders from different parts of the world, from CEOs, business owners, managers, experts who tell their brand stories and share their valuable first-hand insight. My name is Brigitte Bojkowszky. I'm the founder and owner of BridgetBrands. It's a branding strategy boutique offering online courses, workshops, and one-on-one exclusive coaching. I help my clients and students craft meaningful strategies that effectively elevate their personal and organizational brands so they can unleash their full potential and shine. So let's get started and dive with me into the world of brands. Today, I have an interesting guest with an unparalleled business and who has a truly innovative product. Rachel LeRoy, founder of HipMaps, is a custom map designer who uses a fresh approach to bring joy through personalized maps for any occasion. Rachel specializes in maps where hosts share their favorite places to eat, drink, and play, and Rachel creates their personal map in their style. HipMaps is unique because hosts share their custom map with guests via HipMaps' free smartphone app, where guests see their location right on the host's map. These personal and informative maps are a great way for hosts to enhance their guests' experience at business events, retreats, weddings, reunions, vacation rental homes, inns, and more. Rachel is based in Sonoma, California, and makes maps all around the world. I warmly welcome Rachel LeRoy. Welcome to Brands Talk.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm also very happy you are my guest today, Rachel. Before we dive deep into hip maps, could you tell us a little bit about your background, about your life journey, professional journey that brought you right here where you are now?
Sure. I'll go way back to when I was a kid, and I have always loved maps. I was the kid who just pored over the atlas. I just loved looking at places. I would spin the globe. I was just really obsessed with maps, especially aerial photographs, which were pretty rare in the late 70s, early 80s. It was very novel to see an aerial photograph. Um, and so fast forward a little bit in college, I got a degree in environmental science. And so I'm very connected to the earth. I grew up on a farm. Um, and in college, I learned how to make maps with a mapping software. And this was back when it was a very new thing. And I fell in love with it. And I just thought it was the coolest thing that I could make my own map. And out of college, I had two or three jobs in a row where I either used that mapping software because the job was already using it, or I brought it into the company. And I ended up working doing vineyard design in Napa, which is a great place to do vineyard design because it's a lot of wineries, a lot of vineyards there. And I used that mapping. So I was there for 15 years, and I used that mapping software more and more as I progressed in the company. And a lot of it was technical, but I realized that my best days were the days that I was using this mapping software. I just loved it. And when I decided to leave the company and go out on my own, I thought, I can do a lot of different things, but I know maps need to be one of those things.
Okay, that's interesting. And then, yeah, you started your own company in 2019. You became your own boss. You started your company called Rachel LeRoy Consulting. So, what made you do that bold step into becoming your own boss? Why did you start your business?
Well, I always like a challenge, and I had never had my own business where it was my sole thing. I had tried a little, some fun little offshoots during college and things like that, but I never had my fully owned business. And I thought I would really like to try this. I wanted to be, a consultant because a consultant can do lots of different things. And at that time, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. So I could keep it broad. And the mapping part of it came through where I was designing maps for winery tasting rooms to show their people who are coming in to taste their wines where the vineyards were. And I still do that, and I love that. It's such a great connection to have with the wine industry that I used to work solely in.
Yeah, it's always going to be part of your life, I suppose. It's like with me with the
Yeah.
airline industries. As a former flight attendant, you're always about, yeah, aviation, airlines, and flying and traveling. So I also like to be on the globe, and see the big maps where is this, where is that, and having been here and having been there. So I'm also a maps girl.
Yes.
So back to your transition into solopreneurship. So how was that for you? Were there challenges? Were there surprises? Was it easy peasy? So what was
Well,
it for you?
it's funny because I thought that I knew how to run a business because I had been running that vineyard design business
Mhm.
with my partner at the for a couple years. And so I thought, I know how to run a business. What is very funny is that once I got into it, I realized that I had some pretty big gaps that I was not even aware of. Things like marketing and sales, huge gaps that I had just never done, that it wasn't even on my radar that I needed to do. And so I really dove in, and I'm still diving in and learning about the pieces that I was missing, and especially the pieces that I don't like. I those are the ones you need to work on the most. And so I'm still,
Yeah.
you know, years later, still working on them. And yeah, it's fun. And I think another thing that I wasn't really aware would happen is that I'm working a lot more
Mhm.
because it's my own
Mhm.
company. But because I love it so much and it feels so right, it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I'm not getting burned out. I'm not getting exhausted. Where if I was doing this for some other company,
No way.
forget it.
No way. Yeah, so that keeps us going. And what else kept you going? I mean, you love it so much. There is something like the big why that you have, why you are doing that. What is the purpose and what is the vision that you're going for? What is the legacy you want to leave behind?
For me, it's all spreading joy. That's it.
Mhm.
That it all boils down to spreading joy. And every decision I make, it's about, is this going to spread joy? Is this going to help people? Is this going to, the cool thing about HipMaps is that the this idea of spreading joy actually has a domino effect, because the host who is creating the map has joy in the creation of it,
Mhm.
right? They see their own map. That is so cool. Then they have more joy because they give it. There's the joy of giving.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the guest, the joy of receiving a gift that's personal, unique, and thoughtful, and the joy that it's making their life easy. Like the practical side of it is like it's really saving them time. It's just easy. So I love that there's this domino effect going on.
And also the guests, I suppose, they're spreading the joy because they say, "Oh wow, I've been to a wedding, and now listen, what happened and what we got there, and there was a map, and it told us where we can go." And so it's really a snowballing. Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
idea. And you also learned marketing because you rebranded in, when was it, in 2021, right? So it became
Yeah.
the consulting. Uh, it became then the HipMaps, right? So
Yes.
why
Yeah.
that? Because of marketing um,
Yeah.
efficiencies.
Well, when you hear someone's name in consulting, right, that could mean everything, and it really means nothing. All it really means is you can pay me to do something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But with
And that is still true.
yeah. But with HipMaps, it's a completely different story. What is that? So, is there a
Yeah.
brand naming story behind HipMaps? Do you have?
Yes. Yeah, I
Okay.
do. I originally, when I was trying to come up with a name, I knew I wanted maps to be in it
Mhm.
because this is such a unique thing, and people don't think about maps as a way to enhance their guests' experience, or to as a way to take it up a notch for whatever they're doing. They just don't think, oh, I should do a map, right? So I wanted maps to be out there more. I love spreading information and joy of maps. And so when I started this naming, coming up with names, I initially came up with some names, and my wonderful friend, who's a professor of marketing, sat down with me and she said, I think you need to read a book. And she, thank goodness she said this. The book is called Hello, My Name is Awesome. It's this very short book. It's by Alexandra Watkins. And basically, I open up the book, and this book starts with what you shouldn't do is pick out a bunch of names, buy their domains, and then ask your friends which one they like best. And I was like, literally exactly what I just did. So that book was really, really helpful in getting the creative juices flowing and thinking about different names and how to come up with them and what they are going to spark in people, the whole branding thing. And I chose hip because I think hip is a great word that signifies fun and cutting edge. It's both of those things, and those are the things that HipMaps is going for. It is a fun way, it's cutting edge, nobody else is doing this, and it's happy, it's upbeat, it's bright,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's what HipMaps is.
Yeah. So, who are your clients exactly? So that must be happy people because you appeal to happy people. So you usually
Yes.
connect to, with what you're doing. It's so powerful and emotionally loaded that you have to connect with happy people, and mostly happy people are getting married, I suppose. So that's
Yes.
part of your
Yeah.
clientele, I guess. So who is your client? Oops, I lost her right now. So let's get her on. I'm sorry for this interruption. So she is coming on again. One moment, everyone. So the most powerful things get lost. You have so much power that I lost you.
I broke the internet.
Exactly, you did. So, who are your clients exactly, and what are all their benefits with you with HipMaps?
Well, they're all going to be people who are interested in giving something extra to their guests. It's always going to be about the person who's wants to, differentiate themselves. And if it's a business, they want to differentiate themselves from competition. And if it's a personal event like a wedding or a reunion, they want to just, not be the same old wedding or reunion that other people have gone to. They want to stand out from the crowd is what I like to say. So there's a couple different specific clients. One is, of course, weddings. This is so great for weddings that have people coming in from out of town. And personal events like reunions and bar mitzvahs, same thing. Another group are businesses that host meetings or conferences or festivals. Again, people are coming in for a purpose, but they need to know what to do in the downtime where the actual event is not happening. And then the third one is the travel industry, specifically vacation rental homes like Airbnbs or cool lodging like a bed and breakfast or an inn, where they really want to give their guests something unique that they might not get at a larger chain hotel, which these folks are probably not able to compete with on a level that the larger chain hotels can.
Yeah, and also like retreats where you meet and something very exclusive, and then you also want to have kind of a do something else and go to a specific place that you would not go otherwise if you were not to know it's existing, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds so exciting. Perfect. Yeah. And Rachel, with what you're doing, you are definitely in your sweet spot. Yeah, because you are shining like a strong personal brand. You're totally authentic. So, what does it mean to you being a strong personal brand, and in specifically an authentic personal brand?
I think of personal brand as what are what do people say about you when you're not in the room? That's always my guiding light. Hopefully they're not going to say I'm a jerk, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully they're going to say, "Oh my gosh, Rachel, she's everything she does it makes people happy. She just has this great motivational energy." Like that's what I think of is what are people talking about when I'm not around?
Mhm.
Um, and I think, I think the way to get there is to find a way to do what you love. I really do. And sometimes it's really hard and it takes a long time and it's got a very weird roadmap to get there, very squiggly.
Do you have one? Do you have a
I
roadmap
do.
to get there? Do you have some helpful advice to help people strengthen their personal brand and become more authentic or become truly you? So I want to know this map from your perspective. I love that.
I think, thanks. I think it's about reflecting on your choices, and you make these tiny little decisions every single day. And one example is before I post something on social media, even on my personal account, not my business account, but my personal account, I always pause and I say, "Is this spreading joy?" Because I don't want to post something. I might be passionate about something that is the polar opposite of someone else who is passionate about it, and
Mm.
it causes them great distress. So why would I do that? So
That-
I like to make sure it's always positive.
yeah, always positive, but you know what? I also think that you cannot make everyone happy with what you are saying what your opinion is about this or that. It might also be something that is negatively associated with some people in this world. And I think it's also being authentic to say, yeah, I cannot make everyone happy. I cannot bring
Yes.
joy to everyone. That's why we also need to focus on that people that are within our realm, that are share the same values and have the same expectations or see the world in the same way that we do. What do you
Yes.
think about
Yes.
that?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that one of the great lessons to learn, and hopefully you learn it in your 20s, because it's tough to learn it later than your 20s, is that you don't need to click with everybody and you don't have to be everybody's friend. And it's totally fine.
Mm.
It's totally fine.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it's it's stressful to make sure, or uh, it's stressful to think you have to make everyone happy, and that is just not possible. Yeah, and
No,
that's why it's
it's an
so important.
impossibility.
Yeah, that's so important that you know who you connect with and that you surround yourself with all these like minded people that support you, that you can support. You're lifting each other up and eventually, um, are in the state of being more happy than anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well put.
Any other helpful advice to strengthen our personal brand or to help us make shine even brighter?
Well, I think you kind of nailed it, honestly. Surrounding ours. One of the things that I learned from growing and establishing my business is that when it comes to business
Hmm.
decisions and choices and moving forward, your friends are not the best people
No.
to consult with. They're wonderful to have as a supportive group, but when you need honest feedback, really need to establish, I like to call them advisors, because, they come in many forms. It can be a mentor, it can be a coach, it can be someone you pay, it can be someone you don't pay. There's I think it's really important to surround yourself with strong people that you really trust will tell you, I think you should rethink that. Or are you sure you want to go in that direction? And I think some of the best guidance that I've received in growing and evolving has been from the people who were able to say, no, I really think you should look at this. And in whatever they're talking about is something I'm resisting.
Mm. It's the critical feedback, but it's also the question of how you get the feedback, of how you receive the feedback, and how the feedback giver is actually communicating it. If it's in a very helpful and in a very polite way, then it's also easy to take it, even though it's more critical than anything else. And it helps you. It helps you to go forward. It helps you, as you say, to grow. The worst thing that can happen is to have, I mean, it's wonderful to have your friends around, but if they are not giving you this critical feedback, it really doesn't help you to grow. Yeah, it makes you happy, but there is no other consequence when it becomes getting better, becoming a better version of yourself. And that's what we want,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And conversely, what would be some mistakes that shall be avoided when you are starting your business, when you are growing your brand, when you try to become your better version?
Well, I think that waiting until you think you're ready is one of the biggest pitfalls.
Mm,
And I think that a lot of people, especially women, do this. I think they say, well, I can do this once I get this degree, or I can do this once I get this certification, or once I get this experience, or once I we are our own I don't want to say our own worst enemy, because that's really strong, but we hold ourselves back by thinking that we aren't ready when we really are.
mm.
And I'll mention another book that just popped into my head that was really helpful. It's called Playing Big by
I
Tara Moore.
more.
Yeah.
Love it. I love it. It's a book everyone has to read. Every woman has to read this book, especially when it comes to holding back, right?
Yes. And you have to do the exercises, because I read the book on my own and I skipped all the exercises because I was like, oh, I'll go back and do them. Well, of course I never did.
Oh.
And then I read the book with a wonderful accountability partner. And we met every week, and every week we did a chapter and we did the exercises, and we held each other accountable to do the exercises. And I got a million times more out of that book
Mm,
by doing it that way.
mm,
It
mm.
was really remarkable. And I think it's also the kind of book that you can go back to in, a year or two and do it all over again and say, your situation's going to be different, but maybe some of the same questions are going to make you realize, oh, well, the reason I haven't gotten to this point is because of this same old little thing back here that's holding me back.
Yeah, so it's a really good a tip, and I will also put it into the show notes. And Tara Moore is also giving this Sunday workshop hours, so it's also nice to get together on Sunday. Sometimes I have time on a Sunday to be part of that, because it always brings you back to your own shortcomings and what you need to work on. It always comes at the right time.
Yeah, I think so.
Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah. We are really good in holding back and putting limits to ourselves. And we are ready. We are more than ready, even though we think we are not. We
Yeah.
just need a little nudge, and then we are ready to go. And taking action kind of, yeah, makes all the limiting beliefs to dissolve, because then you're so focused on doing your job and getting things done that everything else is secondary.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think keeping the phrase done is better than perfect
Yeah.
in mind is really helpful, because you're never going to get anywhere if you tweak and tweak and tweak and tweak and tweak until it's perfect. I that was a jagged pill for me to swallow. I every time I put something out that I am and it's always for me. It's never for my clients. It's always for me. When I put out some sort of promotional thing or something where I'm like, oh, if I had only tweaked this and tweaked that, I thought, nope,
Mhm.
nope,
Yeah.
it's never going to go out if I don't just launch it.
Yeah, and it's the fear of failing. It's the fear of failing. And how are we perceived in the world when we fail? What are others thinking about? And what really happens if we are having a setback? It's not a failure. It's a setback. It's a detour. It's something that you learn, you pick it up on the way, and you move forward. You continue your walk, right? So that brings me to the next question. So, are there any detours or setbacks that you had in life that were so important for you that you could, really leap from? It's something that was such a major learning that shaped your life and continues shaping your life going forward.
Yeah. When I left my 15-year company that I was with, I wasn't ready to leave. I didn't. I didn't expect to leave. The situation was out of my control, and I was, uh, you know, I had to leave. And it took me a little while to land on my feet. And I think it's very similar to, a bad breakup with a boyfriend when
Mm,
you're in your 20s, right? You're just kind of, oh, my whole life is not what I envisioned it was going to be. And it takes a little while to get it to work through it. But then you realize that was the best thing that could have happened to me, because now my life is so much more, and then fill in the blank, right? So in my situation, I wouldn't have HipMaps had I not left that company. And I was so comfortable. I think that's the thing, is like,
mm,
it's hard to leave it something when you're comfortable to go into this unknown, scary place. But the reward of what you get when you do what you really love, and you're shining and you're thriving, so much worth it.
yeah, and now you are feeling comfortable in the uncomfortable because now you are in the known. You made it your own and you can grow
Yeah,
from here. So that's so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Rachel.
thanks.
Good. So we are almost at the end. There is one thing missing. It's the word wrap. Are you ready?
I love I love this part. I love this part of your podcast.
All right. So, first one is personalization.
Original,
Mhm. Uniqueness.
memorable,
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's great. Women.
strong.
Yeah. And wine tasting.
um, I'm very experienced at this one. I would say I got to do two. I got to do two. One is delicious, and the other is informative. I always learn something.
I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. And brands.
Oh, uh, identity.
Great. Cool. Thank you so much, Rachel. Good. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that want to connect with you because everyone wants hips maps now. So, where can they find you with hip maps?
The best place is my website, and it's hipmaps.com. This is it's such a unique concept. It's much easier to go to the website and watch a couple videos explaining what this is and showing a demo of the app. I always want people to see those visuals, because it's so much easier to understand what this is and how it works. than just trying to describe it.
Yeah,
So hipmaps.com. There's links to social media. I'm on, Instagram and all those fun places. You can email me, you can call me, but hipmaps.com is the best place to go to find all those pieces.
perfect. Good, Rachel. Thank you so much for being my guest today on Brands Talk Live. And it was a pleasure having you here to learn how you help your clients to wow their guests and save them time. A service for people who really want to stand out from the crowd with a memorable, useful map that takes their thoughtfulness to the next level. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you so much, Bridget. I love your podcast, and it was an honor to be on yours.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and thank you all for joining Brands Talk live today. Please give us your social love and leave your comments below. Did you know you can also listen to this show as a podcast on your go? Just follow Brands Talk on your favorite platform. If you're interested in learning more about my services, head over to my website, BridgetBrands.com. I hope you will join me again when we dive into the world of brands, live or by having me in your earbuds, walking the talk. Bye for now. Let's shine. You deserve it.